is going on, everyone, and welcome to Kart 63. My name is Ben. Thank you very much for stopping by. You know the drill. Real quick, if you didn't mind hitting a like on this video, possibly subscribe to the channel, that would be sweet, fantastic, awesome, and all those descriptive words. Yes, Kart 63 is brought to you by TrackTac Tire Treatments. TrackTac Tire Treatments, TrackTac Tire Treatments, TrackTac Tire Treatments, treatments for tires and tracks. Yes, they have a chemical that you can add to the water. It is a binder. It's a dedustifier. It helps keep the surface together if you're having problems with that. If you have questions about the track portion of that, go ahead and give TrackTac a call. Chris Harris is the man down there. Randy Ransom is the chemist, head chemist and owner of TrackTac, and they have the answers you're looking for that. I don't have a ton of information on that, but I do like to mention it in videos in case somebody happens to own a track and watches videos like this. So, I had a question. I'm going to have to change the title. This is a bit much, but this is basically a question. Do different chassis prefer different types of tires? I'd say yes, and there's a reason for that. Okay, first things first, let me say this. Does it mean that certain chassis can't be fast with other brands of tires on them? The answer, obviously not. No matter what kind of chassis you're running, no matter what part of the country, there is going to be a setup, a tire combination that will work for that particular chassis. But chassis design is a very, unless you're just doing some, you know, if you're building it in your backyard or in your garage, you're building your own. We're talking about chassis manufacturing as in actual chassis companies that mass produce chassis for the consumption of the consumer. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. That tracks. Anyway, so there is a long, arduous type of process to which a chassis manufacturer will go out and they will have drivers, they will, rent out tracks sometimes, schedule test sessions. Sometimes they, don't label their chassis. They send out people to just run a Saturday night race or run a state race or something like that, a bigger event. They have them run those chassis and then get a report back from the racer. Now, another thing that chassis manufacturers do, and I know this because, for definite, because I just noticed not too long ago, Premier was doing some testing and they had rented out a track. They had their test drivers going there, and I was just like, that's really cool. I love to see, that they're trying to perfect on what, some might consider one of the best chassis out there. I think that's really cool, making the V3, I think it is. Anyway, I had posed the question, hey, do you test your chassis on prep tires or just straight up tires? So down south, they're testing these down south in Maxxis country. They're going to run straight up Maxxis, and that's what they replied. Yes, we always test our chassis because when you get into the prep game, that changes variability of how that chassis will respond to that. Well, the same concept goes to just a tire brand in general. So I'm up north here. I am an hour and a half, hour 45-ish, give or take, I don't know, from Buffalo, New York. What is in Buffalo, New York? Well, that would be Performance Manufacturing, aka Slack. So Slack is going to be doing a whole bunch of testing on their new karts with Burris tires. They're not going to be running, Maxxis. If they're going to a test track, they're going to be running straight up, say, Burris 33s or Burris 11s without that. But that goes into, there is definitely design aspects of a chassis that these chassis manufacturers get into when they're doing their testing. They're running they're not prep tires and all that. They're seeing how they behave, how soft or tight, soft or hard the chassis is going to be in certain areas of the chassis. So if you're talking about the waist area, which is right about your waist, or what I consider I'm not sure that's the technical term. It's always what I've called it. I've called it the waist area. So basically, when you have a crossbar that comes where the front of your seat meets and where your steering post is coming up, I call that the waist area. Makes sense. Looks like a waist. It's the center. It's a waist. So going up from there, how rigid is it to, say, the right front? You know, the more rigid you are to the right front, the more cross the cart is probably going to hold. Now, a cart that's built a little more rigid might favor a tire such as Maxxis. It might favor a track that is a lot harder, a lot faster, a nice black groove, something like that. To whereas you get up north here and you're on, obviously, Burris tires, Vega tires, something a little softer. The sidewall, not comparable between a Burris and a Vega. A Vega is a very stiff sidewall. A Burris, not so much. You know, the sidewalls are a lot softer. But that has to go into consideration there, that when you're building this chassis and what it wants to do, you want a very consistent chassis that's going to be repeatable every single time you get on the track. But if you are selling a majority of your chassis to a certain part of the country that runs a certain part of a certain tire, you're going to want to adjust that accordingly. You're not going to, maybe a slack isn't going to be as stiff as, say, a Premier or a Millennium or a Phantom or something like that. Now, like when I started off the video, I said that you can make any chassis work at any point in the country. It's just a couple adjustments away. They are go-karts. There's not a whole bunch of suspension pieces to deal with. There's not springs and shocks and rebounds and all that stuff. So you're going to be able to get some real decent performance out of a chassis, no matter what tire you're on, no matter what part of the country you're on. But yes, the answer is yes. They definitely, I believe chassis are designed around a certain type of tire that even down south, if you get, say a Phantom, a Premier, a Charger, a Kinetic Racing chassis, if they know that their cart is specifically going to be running, say, a Reaper tire. There's going to be a Reaper series. This is where all the money is. We want our drivers to perform the best on a Reaper. They're going to go out and test on the Reaper tire, and they may make an adjustment or two of how hard or soft that chassis may respond to that particular tire. So it's real finite. I mean, you're crossing your T's and dotting your I's when you're looking for speed between different tires. But it's definitely a thing. That's why they're not picking on them at all. But you don't see a lot, and there are a few, don't get me wrong, and I'm not picking on them, but you don't see a lot of slacks performing down in Florida State Series. You don't see, a ton of them in Maximilian. Does it mean that they can't? Absolutely not. They absolutely could. It's just when there's such a plethora of chassis to choose from that already have a lot of this time under their belt. They've already done their testing with the Maxxis tire, with the Reaper tire, with whatever, a dirt fault type setup down there. A chassis manufacturer such as Slack, although they could be fast, just isn't going to get the same type of time that those other manufacturers do to really hone in on their design, what tires they like, how they like to be prepped, and all that sorts of stuff. So I thought this was a really cool question, and I thought, man, I could make a video of that, and it kind of excited me. Like I said, I have eons of video ideas. I have to go through them because I've done a lot of them and I got them marked done. So if I go to do a new video, sometimes I have to thumb through real quick and figure out, hey man, have you already talked about that subject or not? But I saw this topic. I was like, you know what? I have never done a topic like that. So let's get on here. Let's I love when the viewers submit questions, video ideas, anything. You're more than welcome at any point in the comments. Send me an email, whatever it is. Doesn't mean I'm always going to do it. No, this one really kind of excited me because I do like chassis design. I like that aspect. I mean, that's where, aside from the tires, that's where chassis design and setup, that's where our speed is. You can be a heck of a wheelman, but if you do not have those things under you, if you don't have your tires right and you do not have your chassis right, you can be the best driver in the world. It's still going to make you slower than somebody else that nails all those things together. So there you go, guys. This is another video. I was supposed to race today. Yesterday, it said it was going to rain 100% at the race I was going to go today. I was like, all right, I'm not going to go. My wife was asking me. She wanted to go do some stuff. I went and saw Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice, absolutely hilarious, great movie. I laughed. We did some grocery shopping. We got a bite to eat, this and that. And I get a text from my friend Kyle, and he's just like, hey, you're still doing Champion? I was like, no, I didn't realize they were racing per the weather yesterday. Apparently, I should have been a weatherman because you get paid regardless. So you can be right or wrong. It doesn't matter. I know the system probably moved a little more and it came down real heavy last night. I just didn't think they were going to race. I would have liked to race that race. Didn't happen. It is what it is. Sometimes it is what it is. That's all. I'm going to leave it at that. But thank you all very much for stopping by. I know I don't like to bring up numbers. I occasionally do because I just notice, but I'm getting real close to 5,000. It's exciting. I think we got it before the end of the year. I know I mentioned that before, but now it's like, it seems like it's within reach. Like, I think I'm 170 subscribers away from hitting 5,000. It's just going to be cool. I'm still thinking whether or not I want to do something for it or not. Maybe some track tech stuff. Might not be a bad idea. A little gift, a little giveaway type of thing. Let me think on it. Let me think on that. Probably can come up with something cool. Anyway, all right, I'm done rambling. I figured I'd ramble at the end, not at the beginning, not to lose my audience. Anyway, track tech, see, I screwed it up. That's what happens. Kart 63 is brought to you by Track Tack Tire Treatments. If you have questions about the Track Tack line, please shoot them my way. If you're looking to get into prep, if you're looking to change off of something you already have, if you want to, you want to know about black sand, shoot your questions my way. I will do the best I can to get those answers for you and get you set up right. So thank you very much, everyone, for stopping by. I really do appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next video. Later.